Hey, 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 everybody. What I want to talk about is the pathway to unconditional love. A lot of what I teach and the things that I talk about, people who aren't as aware just yet tend to think that, from the things that I'm saying, that I do not understand love or that I do not understand unconditional love, okay? And this is usually because of this empty place that we come from in our perceptions of what love is, okay? And what I want to talk about is the fact that what I am doing here is taking you on that true pathway, okay, to unconditional love. Because what happens is people attempt to skip this part, okay, of everything that I've been putting out in these videos. They skip the self. They skip the part of learning even the concept of loving the self, mining the self, okay, learning to take care of the self. Like, you have to learn, there is an aspect of self that you go through first before there is selflessness, okay? Because there can't be selflessness, there can't be a self to transcend if you haven't gone through the process of self. And this is what I mean by that. It is learning to fill your own cup, to mine your own cup. And it creates a balance for you that you're able to love in a balanced way that is truly unconditional. Because when we have the people who have skipped this process, but they believe that they're just so loving because they pour out so much upon others, but they've never learned how to fill their own cup, and they've never learned, they haven't gone through the pathway of self. What happens is these are people who aren't actually capable of love. They're not ready for that. They're not to that place yet. Okay, so what I mean by not being capable of love, they're in need of love. So this is the reason that they give love, but then they're obsessing about the person that they're so-called giving love to, or what that person is doing and what that person is going to return to them and things like that, okay? And this is natural because when you're loving from a place of you need love, you get stuck on a person, you get stuck on things, you just, it trips you up. Okay, because this is an imbalanced way of trying to fulfill the self. Everything comes out of the self. Okay, so to think that you can undermine the self and just completely negate that and be selfless, it's not possible to do it that way. Okay, the self has to be fulfilled to have, to give, because otherwise the self in everything that it does, it's deceptive. Then the self is actually seeking to fulfill the self from what it does. What I'm teaching is feel the self first and then consciously give. Okay, without need. A person who has not mastered self-love and the concept of the self, protecting their own heart, which is a part of self-love. See, when we love something, it's learning to value yourself, value your heart. There are people out here that value everything more than they would value their own heart. See, you're not even ready to unconditionally love someone else until you've gotten to a place where you've learned to even value you. Okay, so when you meet someone and you're just pouring yourself out on them, you don't know if they're going to hurt you. You don't know what their intentions are, because we have to be real. You can't get too high up in the 5D that you can't merge it with the 3D. And this is the thing about it. The people who think that they're doing that, it's funny that they only do it when it comes to relationships and love, but they don't do it in any other area. Because here's the thing. If you want to have that premise, okay, that you should not be concerned about the self, you should not value the self, you just love others in a selfless way, this would all, and we just negate the 3D, okay, then why are these same people locking their doors? Why are these same people not giving away everything that they have? Why don't they leave their doors open for people who want to come in and have something that they have in their home? Be selfless. What is there to need to protect your home for? What is there a need to lock your car doors for? What is there a need to hang on to your purse when you're in the store? Leave it in the cart and go look around. And, see, this is what I'm saying. But we will protect those things, but then we will say that our own hearts are not something worthy of protection. We have to go through that process first. Okay? Because if you lock your doors, if you protect your money, and you perceive that as having more value than you, do you see the problem with that? So if you're not going to protect your heart, and you don't have to protect yourself in any way, don't protect anything else. Because we have to understand that people are at different phases of evolution. So we lock our doors not because we just have to acknowledge that people are in different places. Okay, it's not about judging them. Okay, there's some people who are not going to get it even in this lifetime. There are some people who have so much pain that they are going to inflict pain on others. They're going to murder others. They're going to harm others. They're going to break others' hearts. There's so many things that people are going to do from their own pain. So it is not about not having love or compassion for them. This is about a balance. And allowing of people to be and do what it is they're going to be and do, and remain within our space at the same time. So I lock my doors not because the person who would break into my home I judge as being a truly just horrible person. No, I do that because there are people that are hurting, and that they're going to do what they're going to do. And I just set the I am the judge, not the judge. I am the chooser. I get to choose what I am going to open myself up to experience. Okay, so I'm not completely opening myself up to an experience of having my home broken into. That's really what it's about. So we don't go around just giving all of ourselves to people that we don't know where they truly are, and what they're going to do with that. Okay? So here's the thing. There's a pathway through the self of learning to love the self in this way. You don't know love until you've given it to yourself, until all of your love has been focused on you for a period of time. That's where you begin to understand the healing power of love. That is where you truly know love. You never know love through experiencing it with someone else, because what you actually think you know as love becomes nothing more than an exchange of needs. So this pathway is necessary, because what happens when people skip this pathway and they want to just go into, they go from never learning the self in the way that they need to. They never learn how to care for the self, fulfill the self, meet the self's own needs, and kind of be all about the self a little bit in a certain way. Okay. And then to gradually and naturally and easily flow more into how to bring all that you've built up and fulfilled within outward to give to others who may be lacking. Unconditional love is a charitable thing. Okay? So unconditional love is like giving to charity, to people in need. But when you donate to a charity, do you look for something back? So you have to have enough to donate to charity. So what's happening is, when people are skipping that pathway, this is what they are like. They are like people who are homeless, broke, who can't even afford to buy a cheeseburger, and they are focused on charity. They are focused on, it's like the homeless person who has no food, who's focused on feeding the homeless. Do you see where there's an imbalance in that? So then that homeless person who has no money and no food, who's trying to feed the homeless, he needs what he's giving. So then he gives the food, but then somebody's got to give him some. He's not in a place, you're not ready for charity yet. He needs to focus on getting his own life together, having an abundance of food, an abundance of money. Then he needs to go out and, then give to others who were in his situation before. But he's got to have it to give. And when you do not learn how to love yourself, you do not have it to give. So all of this thinking, that's like that homeless person thinking that they're such a great person, they're such a selfless person. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it, but you're not really that beneficial. Because it's not really, you can't do it. What you're trying to do, you're not capable of doing. If you haven't learned to have that love for yourself and spent a time learning to love yourself, you don't know how to give that love to someone else. Your motivation is need. That's why that unconditional love, you only want to give it to that one person. It's all about this one person, the one person who you believe that you will get something back from eventually, even if it's at a later time. There's a problem with this. So you have to get to a place where you are self-sustainable in your needs, and in your love. You have to learn how to work with love within yourself first, before you're really capable of that. You don't want to be the homeless, broke, starving person who's so focused on feeding the homeless. It's like you can't help people in need of love when you're still in need of love. Whatever it is that you want to do in the world, whatever you want to give out in the world, you have to have it first. Okay? So that's what it's about. Remember, guys, if you are looking for a paradigm shift, the 5 Hours to True Love Bootcamp can help you with that. And I recommend soul healing sessions if you really want to, clear up some shadows or look at some things that are hindering you, and get more clarity on where you are, and what your next step is. Okay, that is always available for you. The links are in the description box below, and I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. Bye.